far worse things waiting man than death.
You will be scared shitless.
Good evening. This is S. Michael, and with me, as always, is
Erin Dawn.
Slinky Giallo.
And we are the Scared Shitless Podcast. And you may or may not be aware of this. I did mention it in a previous episode or two that the movie we're about to do is my favorite anthology film of all time. There are many reasons for that, but it's also in keeping with our recent theme, which is Mr. Stephen King, as my former mother-in-law used to say.
Stephen King. Stefan King. I love it.
I was like, and I always try not to laugh too hard, but I was like, it's Stephen, Mom. I know it's spelled Stefan or Stefan, but yeah, Creepshow is what we're doing tonight. Our previous episode was on 70s King, which the more astute nerdy viewers will point out, but The Shining was 1980. Yeah, but it was filmed in the 70s. So
yeah.
All right.
Sorry. We didn't like it anyway.
No, not our favorite at all. Yeah, and that's a hot take. That's gonna go over with some fans, but we'll see what happens.
Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, so I also think I think I mentioned last episode that it was all Creepshow was also my introduction to Stephen King, not the movie, but the comic book / graphic novel that was based on the movie.
I used to have a copy of it. Yes,
written by Stephen King and all illustrated by the genius who was Mr.
Bernie Wrightson.
Yes, sir. Whose illustrations appear in The Stand by Stephen King, Cycle of the Werewolf, and then of
Frankenstein.
course, I was going to say tons of Marvel stuff. Yeah.
That's how I got into Bernie Wrightson, was Frankenstein art. It's like, wow.
Yeah. How would you describe Bernie Wrightson's art?
It's hard to describe. It's the best way I can put how to describe Bernie Wrightson to someone who's never seen Bernie Wrightson art. It's as though, this is going to sound so dumb and cliche, but it's like the pencil lines are moving. It's like they're alive. Like his artwork is so fluid when you watch it. It's like it's hard to describe. Like, it's really hard to describe, but that's how I would describe it. It's very fluid. But yeah, he did the Creepshow comic book, and it's amazing. I used to have a copy. It's awesome.
Yeah, his style, often imitated, never duplicated. I do tend to prefer his black and white stuff. Yes, I think that was just his natural go-to medium, was just black and white. But I always think of like cross-hatching, shading, little attention to detail, wrinkles,
It's stark, high contrast, but he did it in such a gorgeous way that, he only using black and white, he gave everything almost a grayscale, but he didn't use shades or anything. He didn't use different sepias. He just did black and white, but it's so good. It looks like it's been shaded. Like, yeah, that's a good way to put it, I guess.
Yeah. And I would say, Stephen King, when you say Stephen King, you tend to think novels and, or maybe the movies. But it's not necessarily, art that is associated with King. And Wrightson was one of the few illustrators, I think, who can really represent Stephen King's vision and the horror involved and the eeriness. It always came across, which is why he collaborated with him so often. And I'm so glad that that was my introduction, not only to King, but to Creepshow, which we're doing tonight. So how about you guys, your virgin Creepshow viewing or experience?
So I was between 4 and 5 when I went to go stay at my best friend Melva's house growing up. And her dad rented Creepshow, and I got all the way up to the scene where Nathan comes out of the grave, and I went and called my mom because I was very upset and scared, and I needed her to come pick me up.
That's fantastic.
So that was my virgin viewing. My full-on viewing had to have been probably around 12 or 13. I think that's kind of where my parents kind of took the reins off of me and said, like, look, like you can watch whatever you want to watch, kind of thing. And horror movies were it. So I definitely remember watching it. I remember owning a copy of the Creepshow comic at one point and just fascinated by it. I love this. This is one of those movies that I watch with my mom. We watched the Just Desserts, the documentary about Creepshow. Just it was just amazing. I love this movie. I love all the little stories. I think everything has its own charm. Some stories are stronger than others, but it's still everything has charm, and all the actors in this film are playing to the back row, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, my introduction to Creepshow was I had watched a bunch of the episodes on HBO when I was 11 because it was 1991. Tales from the Crypt. I'm getting there. I'd watched a bunch of Tales from the Crypt episodes on HBO and got into the horror comic thing. That's when I learned about EC Comics and da 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 da. So as I was browsing the video aisle, I saw this video cover. It says Creepshow. George Romero's name is on it. By 11, I was already well versed in George Romero. So I fucking jumped into it head first. And I was shocked that, oh my God, there's a movie about horror comics. It's just like, so it was really good. And yeah, I love Creepshow. I love Creepshow. Yeah, the reason I remember it was 1991 so well is because for some reason, the day this happened at the video store where I jumped into Creepshow and rented it, my mother and her friend Bonnie and her gay son Robbie, they all decided to go see Indecent Proposal because it just came out. So I got drugged to the movie theater with my mother and her friends at 11. Wonderful. Yeah, I had a great childhood. So yeah, that's how I got introduced to Creepshow. But I love Creepshow, the music. I was kind of surprised the amount of stuff I know about Creepshow. But yeah, so stellar movie, man. But we'll get into it. So that's how I learned about Creepshow when I took it home and rented it and loved it.
Yeah, to
What
expound
about
on
you, Mike?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, what about you, Mike?
Well, I was going to say to expound on my virgin viewing, because I just mentioned the comic, and I was about 7 or 8 when the Bookmobile came to my neighborhood, and I found that comic, which I really probably shouldn't have been looking at, but whatever. We all were traumatized by horror in the 80s, at a tender young age, but no, so the film itself is so generic, it's not even barely worth mentioning. But yeah, I just saw it in passing on cable and was like, oh, that's the movie from the book that I saw. So that's it.
Awesome. And then, so why is this your favorite anthology? Because there's so many horror anthologies out there. Why is this your favorite?
I think I'm very, nostalgia goggles about it. If I were to go back through and look at all of the anthologies, like the horror, the Hammer stuff, and all of the other, even the modern ones, there might be some out there that are more technical, that are, more important. But it's my personal favorite because, not only was it my introduction to Stephen King, but it was my introduction to, gory zombies, with Nate. My introduction to EC Comics style horror as well. I hadn't seen horror comics before that. You better believe I was looking for more after I saw it.
Yes,
but
I lost my mind when I found out horror comics existed. Yeah.
And I did every chance I got. I was like, pouring through the comics, and yeah, there's one from DC, and there, and DC. I hated DC's horror comics, but
they were lame. I totally understand.
But then there was Frankenstein and Dracula, and then the
Even
werewolf.
Marvel had their own line of horror guys. There's Marvel's Dracula, Marvel's, they have a whole line of them. Marvel Zombie. So yeah.
But it was hard to find the EC style stuff when I was a kid. And so when I eventually got turned on to them, I was like, wow, obviously this is where they got the idea. And to do an even deeper dive, I think it's important historically that in the early 80s, as we were coming out of that comics code era, and things started to get gory again, that it was a nod to those, because things like Night of the Living Dead might never even have existed without EC Comics.
Exactly.
I did a little bit of a deep dive to try and find out the earliest example of a Romero zombie, for lack of a better term, a zombie that isn't just a voodoo zombie. It's rising from the grave and eating flesh and all that. And it goes straight back to EC Comics,
Yeah.
so hugely important culturally. So yeah, just all the things that I love about horror are in this movie, and they're what this movie is celebrating, the dark humor of it, so yeah, just
Yeah, no, it's out of all the anthologies, it's hard to pick, to me, again, a better one than this. And the thing about horror comics, just period, about them, that I want to touch on here for a second, is that you mentioned the Comics Code. There was a book called Seduction of the Innocent, which came out in the 50s, and horror comics were the main reason that book came out. And that book was like criticizing the violence and all this stuff in the comic book world. So they developed what was called the Comics Code Authority, and they used to rate the comics. Now that thing ran up to the 90s against comics, where they had these restrictions they had to conform to in order to get the book released. And it's always stuck with me that these comics were like, fuck you, we're going to do what we want, and they actually had to do a rating thing because of them. So like, that's awesome. I'll always love horror comics just for that reason.
I think of William H. Gaines, of course.
Yes,
We would never have gotten Mad Magazine unless the or the Comics Authority had, put the hammer down on horror comics. That was his backup plan. He's like, well, I can't do this gory, dark, black humor stuff anymore. I'll just take my sixth sense of humor and create an entire, lampoon of, everything in society, from entertainment to politics. So we have Mad essentially because of everything went down with the horror comics. So there's that.
Horror comics, yeah, we have to tip our hat to the horror comics. Absolutely.
I guess we can go through, chronologically like we usually do, starting in suburbia with a horror comic, named Creepshow. And none other than the son of the writer of these segments, Mr. Joe Hill, Stephen King's
Joe Hill,
son.
yeah.
And of course, he is not only Stephen King's son, but also responsible and for a lot of horror stuff in his own right. Black Phone comes to mind, In the Tall Grass. He's really making his mark on the genre. And good for him for not taking his dad's name. He did the old, the Scarlett Johansson thing, and no, she kept her dad's name. Who else? Who am I thinking of? Oh gosh, Angelina Jolie, right? Her dad was John Voight.
Jennifer Jason Leigh is another one because her dad was Vic Morrow. She didn't take his name, so
good for those Nepo babies that don't choose to exploit their parents' name.
Hooray!
But he's a cute little kid when he's got that kind of sandy, typical early 80s haircut. And he's enjoying his comic, and then all of a sudden dad walks in and looking at this horror crap, and it's the legend himself, Mr. Tom Atkins, who was
Tom's mustache.
Great.
Oh, I do not like this. This is not a Tom Atkins I can get on board with at all.
No, sir.
At all. No, I don't like it. No, sir.
Which is funny because at the same time he was bemustached in another film that was released pretty much around the exact same time, which was one that we covered in the past, Halloween 3.
Yes.
It was actually in direct competition with Creepshow. And thankfully for Creepshow, everybody was pissed that Michael Myers wasn't in it. So they all went to see Creepshow instead.
Nice. Well played.
Yeah.
Horror audience.
But yeah, dad flips out, you're looking at this horror crap, the poor mom in the background. I don't know what else she's been in, but she was kind of mousy and just kind of putting up with dad's antics, and I mean, he represented, I think, a dad that a lot of kids, in the 80s had, it was Mr. Tough Guy and, into corporal punishment. I mean, he smacks the crap out of Joe Hill. And I did see on my special features Blu-ray, I think it was Pasquale Buba who said that King was there. He was standing there as this scene occurred, watching like a hawk, And then Atkins was like, yeah, I remember that, and when I went to smack his kid, he was like really freaking out, so.
That's funny. I get it. I grew up with a kid whose dad was the fire chief of our small town, and he was very shitty.
So what interesting about that scene is that if you watch it slowed down, you actually see that Joe King slaps himself. So Tom Atkins doesn't make contact with his face. Joe King actually slapped, or Joe Hill, Joe Hill actually slaps himself. And it's funny because you look at his cheek and he's got this like handprint on his cheek, like, man, he really hauled off and slapped himself really hard. But no, and I did not recognize the mom, and I'm sure she's probably been in a handful of things back in that time period, but I didn't recognize her. So
could have been a local Pittsburgh actress, because Romero loved Romero and his local Pittsburgh actors. He loves them.
There's a lot of Slink pointed this out to me, that this film in general has a lot of repertory players from Romero that just in general that showed up in Knight Rider.
Yep. And the special features, the interview that they have says basically it was a Knight Rider reunion, because King was in it, and Harris.
Everybody from Knight Riders. And I'm sure Patty Tallman might be running around the background of this thing somewhere too, as a stunt woman. Like, he threw her and everything.
But yeah, one of my favorite lines in the movie, when he's like, it wasn't like that, because he said, you asked me to go get your cufflinks from your underwear drawer. And that's when I found the magazines that you'd be looking at, Dad,
That's funny, man.
Who didn't grow up with their father, having a porn collection of some
dad's porn stash, man?
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, my dad's Playboys were not hidden per se, like they weren't displayed or anything, but like he had them.
I didn't have to go looking far.
No, he had them in his bedside table, but they were out. So I would, steal them, and I got in trouble for stealing them a lot. I was it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that Playboy now has this incredible sexual assault stain attached to it, so it's unfortunate, but at the time, Playboy magazine was just absolutely glossy and beautiful, and the women had gorgeous hair, and they wore leather boots, and it was just crazy. As a kid, I was just like, wow, like this is what real women look like.
They look beautiful, man. They look beautiful. You were like, whoa.
Beautiful women lounging on beautiful cars.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the swanky one, right? It wasn't Penthouse. It wasn't Hustler. I mean,
no, it was all
classy shit,
Yeah, no, my father wasn't like, looking at club or whatever. No, it was 100%. He was a very dedicated Playboy reader. Yeah.
Now, I'm from Jersey, so I found my dad's Hustlers. Big difference, buddy. Big difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Fine line between the Playmate, the Playmate of the Month, and the Beaver Hunt. Is that one?
So anyway. Then we get the Creep, right? We get the title sequence with the fantastic soundtrack. Boom, 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 boom. It's just this booming sort of, dark and stormy night stuff. The Creep, which is a fantastic animatronic puppet,
named Raoul,
zombie looking thing. Yeah, I've got a blanket with that on it, and it was over on all of the posters, the Creep. In the comic, he talks, but he doesn't say anything in this movie. Which is I was a little disappointed when the sequel came out, even though I enjoyed it. That the Creep
Tom Savini in a fat suit. It's the thing about Creepshow is, I'm just going to say it because it's the elephant in the room. Creepshow is a loving homage to these comic books. So it's very Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, the Crypt of Terror. Like when you're into Creepshow, it's just like reading one of those comic books. So it's really cool. The Creep read.
Yeah, and as the movie proper starts with our first segment, we see how much love was put into that homage. They have the
sequence alone,
the comic book panels. So right away we see, oh yeah, this is a living comic book. This is a comic book movie. It's come to life. Very cool for any EC horror comics fan or comics in general, but also very stylistic and kind of a real departure for Romero, I think. To be working for one with a budget like that, but then also just stylistically very, very different from his earlier stuff. So, but yeah, so our first segment, Father's Day, which I see memes for this everywhere. Of course, around Father's Day, people are posting them left and right, usually on the horror pages, but sometimes just in general, it's part of our popular culture, a horror film segment about Father's Day. And yeah, so chronologically, we meet the family of Aunt Bedelia, who I don't know her name. Vivica Linfors.
Is
Okay, I
Aunt
guess she's
Bedelia.
a
Yeah.
veteran actress, and was gorgeous in her younger days. Kind of like Mrs. Voorhees. She had her career at least temporarily resurrected by a horror film. And she's fantastic in the role. The accent that she puts on. But first, we meet the family, right? Ed Harris and the other players. Talking about Aunt Bedelia and how she inherited her father's money, because she killed him. She got tired of him treating her like shit. She was his caregiver. And one night she was just on Father's Day, actually, she had enough. He was screaming for his cake. Where's my cake, Bedelia? And she bashes his fucking head in with an ashtray. And she had her reasons for that, right?
Right, because I guess she had fallen in love with an older man who was like really a lot older, like 75. He was like 75. And the rumor was that he had him killed on a hunting trip. And that she was, it was like they were joking, we've got this like group of family members here, which are all cocaine skinny. And they literally, everybody in this movie that's this sort of like sitting and talking, like Ed Harris and the girl that he married, and then her brother and everybody, like everyone looks like disco coke whores. Like everyone's got the like gold necklaces and butterfly collars, and everyone looks like they live off cigarettes and tab, and cocaine, clearly. But they're very like sassy about, Aunt Bedelia is kind of like the wild aunt, like she's kind of the kooky aunt, regarding like in their family, like she's the fun,
but she's also the one that they have to thank for their fortune.
Absolutely. You have Aunt Bedelia to thank for your coke habit. Absolutely. And the disco music.
Ed Harris is dancing.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And disco music that's just on a loop, because they didn't play like another song. It's literally Don't Let Go, like on a fucking loop. Just Ed Harris dancing.
And, then Aunt Bedelia shows up in this awesome car, because she's filthy rich. And she's got a bottle of, oh gosh, I don't remember what you remember what she was drinking? It's whiskey of some sort.
It's Jim Beam. Yes. And I commented to Erin, I says, wow, as rich as these people are, I said, she's drinking some cheap shit. But I think that's a Duesenberg that she pulls up in. I think that's a Duesenberg, that car.
That car?
Yeah. Okay. It looks like a fancy ass Duesenberg.
You can almost set your watch by it, right? The lady says. And so, Aunt Bedelia comes out to visit the grave of her beloved father, who, this actress, man, she's got chops. It's clear that she loved him, but he drove her fucking bonkers. He went too far, killed the guy that she actually loved. The guy
he called her a bitch. Then
you called me a bitch. Yes.
That's right. That was it.
And so, like, for like context for this scene, she actually had asked Romero if she could improvise in that scene, and she took her relationship with her father and used it as fuel to be able to like do that scene. And it really shows. It's a very personal scene. The acting in it is really amazing. Vivica Linfors is an amazing actress. She's also fabulous. She has like a cameo kind of role as a professor in a Rob Reiner movie called The Sure Thing. And she's just fabulous. I wish she was in all movies, right? I mean, but she's really, really good in this.
Well, we get to meet Nate.
Yeah, Nate coming out of the grave.
Which John Amplis was wearing the suit, and he's
from Martin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and we definitely got to do that movie sometime because I think it's in my top 5, if not my top 3 favorite vampire movies ever.
Hella rapey, but I don't know. I've been a little bit lax on the movies I see with sexual assault in them. So I mean,
that adds to the scary, I mean, especially in the 70s,
yeah. I mean, I'll be fine with it. Like, obviously,
it's not irreversible.
Yeah.
We can definitely do a trigger warning for that one because, man,
Martin.
But yeah, John Amplis also in Day of the Dead. He was kind of underused in that,
and he's in Night Riders too.
Oh, is he in Night Riders?
Night Riders too. That's right.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yep. So he's beloved in the horror community, and this is probably one of my favorite zombies ever.
Yes, absolutely, horrifying, and has this like gurgly deep voice. He's horrifying. I can understand why little Erin between 4 and 5 was just horrified by this and needed to call her mom,
But Savini killed it with this costume, because if you look at him, his bones don't look like they're connected. His bones look like they're floating. Like when he's moving his hand and his jaw, none of his bones look like they're connected to each other. It looks really cool, man. And he's packed in dirt.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to Wrightson again for the art on that. It's just gorgeous, the rotting flesh, the detail, the maggots in the eyes, just everything you could want from a zombie.
It's gory, but it's beautiful. So yeah.
And then that shot would end up in Tom Savini's Bizarro, which I believe later on they called Scream Greats or something like that. But Grand Illusion? I'm sorry. Yeah, Bizarro, which then got renamed Grand Illusions, but they did have this beautiful black and white shot of the makeup that he did for the Nathan Grantham. So it's fantastic. So.
But I got to give mad props to Stephen King for exploiting the comedy here. Nathan Grantham is absurdly obsessed with his Father's Day cake. That's all he wants. Cake. He just wants his cake.
And his liquor.
Ed Harris has one of the lamer deaths. Death is cool, but he shouldn't have been killed.
We've seen quite a few movies where people get gravestones dropped on them.
We've seen 2 last year.
Yeah. So we know that it could have been done better. And also we kind of like had a feeling of like, well, if you fall on the ground and you're on the ground and in a grave, basically, you got to move.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like when he falls in the grave, I said to her, just the fact that I was laying in a grave, my brain would have been like automatic get up, automatic get up, automatic get up. I just wouldn't have laid there, that's all.
Yeah, I would have missed.
One leg.
It's a funny scene too, right before the horror kicks in, because he finds this bottle of whiskey and he gets this shit-eating grin on his face, like, oh, there's whiskey.
Because you don't mind.
I found free booze.
But yeah, as a kid, I wasn't so much into the gore of it. But the horror, man, that's, we'll talk about that during the scared shit list, but that scene was scary to me, when he's seeing it inch forward a little bit at a time, and right before Nate comes out and shows that he's the one kind of behind what's going on, and he's going to get his fucking cake. You better believe it.
He's going to get it no matter what.
And then, they decide that they're going to go check out. Well, okay. So, Carrie Nye, who plays the other no.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Carrie Nye, who plays the other, she might be the sister. She's Aunt Bedelia's sister?
I guess, yeah. They're around the same age.
And they're she decides to go and she's like, Mrs. Danvers, and she's talking to the maid, which of course is that's actually a lift from a Hitchcock movie called Rebecca. And so she goes in and sees, Mrs. Danvers is dead, right? So then she gets kind of killed, and then Pokey McSnortfuck and the other one decide they're gonna go and investigate what's going on in the kitchen, and Big reveal.
Fum fum fum. It is indeed Father's Day, and he finally got his cake.
He got his cake.
Music's awesome. It's really cool, man. It's really cool. They framed the shot in a comic book panel. It's really cool.
It's fantastic.
And it's exactly
great.
how an EC Comics story would have ended.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I think because what they do is they show the scene and then the art takes over the panel and everything. I think they had these still images and then Bernie drew over top of them to get the thing just right. But I mean, hell, he's such a master artist. He could have drawn it, but I think that's what they did to get the panel just right to fit perfectly. It's so good. It's so well done.
So then we move on to our next segment. And I think correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe I'm misremembering this, but don't we see the creep a little bit, like make a comment or something like kitties, or maybe that was only in the comic.
Yeah, no, there's a different movie. But what happens is in this movie, when they move the camera over the comic panels to get to the next story, they go over a page of advertisements. They go over another page of kids writing letters into the comic book. And then the next page is literally set up like a Tales from the Crypt comic book. You see the crypt guy, you see the creeper. He has a word bubble. And it says da 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 da, and then the next panel over is the first frame of the story when the camera starts. So there's an introduction, but it's not like a proper introduction.
Yeah.
It's like in passing of the camera when it does panning.
And I'm glad you mentioned the ads, because that plays into our beginning and our end. You see cool. That one of the
X-ray glasses.
Yes, one of the coupons missing, for the voodoo doll. But yeah, so our second segment, The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill.
Jordy Verrill.
Played by none other than the master of horror himself, 80s, coked out Stephen King.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he wrote it, so this is very cosmic horror if you think about it. This story is super cosmic horror.
Yeah, didn't we just do a movie where a meteor?
Yeah, we did a movie about some kind of rock that falls out of cosmic space. It's the same thing. A meteor crashes in this guy's front yard, and it's not malicious. It's just growing. It's just does its thing whether you're there or not. So yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I really like this story. I dig it. It's playing right now.
Yeah, and I mean, they obviously play it up for laughs, but that's what's so great about Creepshow, and I think horror in general is, we've talked about it before, the kind of relationship between horror and comedy. It's oftentimes timing, uncomfortable spaces that you're in, uncomfortable topics, and this segment in particular just plays off of both of those things really very well. You've got obviously the laughs, involved with Stephen King playing this idiot farmer, or whatever he's supposed to be. He's some kind of redneck, and meteor shit, which I probably laughed harder than I had ever laughed before the first time I saw that scene. He said meteor shit, but it was fucking funny at the time, but then you've also got, like you said, Slink, you've got some cosmic horror going on here. You got this alien entity, whatever it is, disease spreading. I don't know.
It's like an intergalactic chia pet, man. It's just growing.
It's perfect description.
You know what I mean? And it's just cosmic horror. It's very, I meant to say it's very Lovecraftian, because the thing is, there's Jordy saying, "Oh, I'll take it up to the college." Da 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 da. And then he has these comical flashbacks of like what he thinks is going to happen, what more than likely would happen. So it's like it's very Lovecraftian.
Yes, and then after he touches it and gets burned, he throws water on it and it splits open, and he gets the meteor shit. And then he has, like you said, the flash or the dream sequence where I wouldn't give you 2 cents.
I wouldn't give you 2 cents for a broken meteor. It's really funny, man. It's really good. So this story's it does the Return of the Living Dead thing where it walks the fine line with comedy, and because the comedy in this is kind of nervous comedy, because your mind is starting to wander because you're feeling for this guy. You're like, what is he going to do? Is he going to cut his fucking hand off? Like, there's green stuff growing out of his mouth now. Oh my God.
His poor pee-pee.
Yeah, just
Well, and it also has a very kind of serious dramatic component as well that's a little unexpected, where his father, was this abusive asshole, And it turns out that the visions that he's been having of this college professor, that's his dad, and he's got daddy issues. And as
a lot of people in this movie do.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you saying, Stephen King? I'm seeing a pattern here.
Wow. I was today years old, as the kids would say, before I realized that this movie has a plethora, if you will, of daddy issues.
Yeah, I mean, his
God.
vision of his dad tells him you never were good at anything or good for nothing. And, if you get in that bathtub, right, because he's itching like crazy and he wants to take a bath and he thinks that'll, help make the itch go away. But the vision tells him if you do that, you're signing your death warrant, and so it goes back and forth with these, images and visions that he has, and you see the stuff growing more and more, the green shit growing out of everything. And then, finally, Stephen King's character, Jordy, can't take it anymore. And he's like, fuck it, I'm getting in the bathtub. And he falls asleep. He does feel better. And when he wakes up in the next morning, he's got moss all over his body. And he has that almost sounds a little bit like Nate, where he's got this gargly voice, and he's like, please, God, let my luck be good this time. Let me find the trigger. And he blows his fucking head off. The end. Poor Jordy, but yeah, it's it's
in the
very
it's in the
funny
title,
and very scary and very tragic all at the same time.
The lonesome death of Jordy Verrill. And I'm like, I'm so surprised.
Storytelling at its finest. That's, early 80s Stephen King, sucking at a lot of teats, right? Lovecraft, EC Comics, and even some daddy issues thrown in for texture. So I love this segment. Historically, before I kind of grew up a little bit and, thought I knew some shit, I did not enjoy it as much. I thought it was silly. Other than, laughing at meteor shit, I appreciated King's performance. He actually turned out to be a pretty good actor.
Yeah, he's not a bad actor at all.
But as an adult, I really appreciated a whole lot more just for all those elements that were used.
Yeah, no, literally, because I got into Lovecraft when we watched it today, and I was like, this is really awesome. I was like, this is really cool. Because when I was a kid, I used to fast forward to that segment. Just keeping it real, man. And but I love the thing about horror comics that I love that, again, they keep true to the movie is the comeuppances that happen in it. We'll get to that in the next story. So it's here, which
would be something to tide you over.
This is my favorite.
It's got the best. Well, other than Ed Harris, it's got the best actors in it. The most famous people.
And I want to say this now: Romero shoots all his movies in Pittsburgh. Well, the shore is not in Pittsburgh, so he filmed this part in New Jersey. I forget the name of the place. It doesn't matter. Like a park.
It's actually.
I thought that beach looked awfully familiar.
Yeah.
It's like a park that's actually in New Jersey.
New Jersey. And then the rest of the movie he shot in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, which is 30 miles southeast of Pittsburgh proper. So for all you film nerds out there, that's where he shot it.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah, I'm going to all these locations someday.
I love.
He loves anything involving Pittsburgh. Trust me, anything involving Pittsburgh, he loves. But this is my favorite of all the stories. This is actually my favorite. I love it. I think it's evil and devious and nasty. And I think the acting is phenomenal. I had already seen Leslie Nielsen in Airplane, right? So seeing him in this was actually disconcerting to me as a kid because I was like, what?
It was the same thing with me. He was in Naked Gun for me. So when I saw him in this, because I had seen Naked Gun before this, I was like, Frank Drebin, no. Yeah.
And then
he was the doctor from Airplane for me, for sure.
Yeah, he's the doctor. He's the doctor from Airplane. And then, Ted Danson he's got a lot of wig acting going. Like he's got that perfect toupee that he's had probably since this movie, I would say.
Probably landed in the role in Cheers,
Yeah, absolutely. He's like, I'm not being a dick either. He's very open about the hairpiece. Like that is a very well-known fact about Ted Danson. He is not ashamed of it. I really love the the way that the story opens, and you kind of think like, oh, where is this going? Like because he knows. I mean, it's funny that there's a cheating element. I mean, there's a cheating, obviously, plot point, but then there's also a cheating plot point in Cat's Eye also. And yet Tabitha and Steven are still together.
Yep. Horror anthologies like their cheating plot points.
Oh yeah.
So I do want to mention John Harrison again, real quick, the composer of the music for this movie, because the music in this particular segment is my favorite out of the whole film. It uses all these different little motifs and things actually that showed up in other movies, shows. Because this guy also did the music for Day of the Dead, which is one of my favorite horror soundtracks of all time, and my personal favorite zombie film. Sorry, Dawn fans. It's a close second, but also Tales from the Dark Side, the TV show and the movie did the music for those. And so this guy knows his way around some dissonant chords and electronica, 80s electronica, just eerie shit,
And the music in this segment has a watery
Yes.
feel to it. It's very yeah. So I totally get it, man. Yeah.
But yeah, Ted Danson, Leslie Nielsen, and George
Galen
Romero
Ross.
fans will recognize Galen Ross.
Hey.
Exactly.
Or Alexis Dubin, if you want to go Madman route.
Listen, Madman, I guess the fact that Madman was a non-union film, she had to use a different name, so she's Alexis Dubin in that one. Yeah. But yeah, Galen Ross. Yes, it is Galen Ross. And it's just the level of planning that Leslie Nielsen does, like the fact that he has this Jeep that has like a million spools of cable.
Here's the thing. This is one of the stories where I always ask people, I'm like, now, because we know the story, we know what's going on. Is Leslie Nielsen out of line for what he does?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's like Bedelia in the first segment, was she really that off for bashing her dad's head in, for murdering her boyfriend? Maybe not, but that's those gray areas, But yeah, so Leslie Nielsen's character finds out that Ted Danson's been banging his wife. He kidnaps him, brings him to the beach, tells him to jump in a hole. And I love Ted Danson. He's like, fuck you, I'm not jumping in there.
Yeah. Holds him at gunpoint. And then, yeah. So.
And then he gets in there and he's like, all right, now I want you to start pulling the sand in around yourself. And he's like, nope, you're going to have to shoot me, and so Nielsen, I guess, anticipated that. It's like, yes, but what about the lady fair? Aren't you going to want to know what happens to her? And so, yeah, he covers himself in sand. He's buried in sand completely up to his neck. And I grew up in Virginia Beach. And so as a kid, I used to do the same shit. And it's absolutely true. Once you get that amount of sand around your body, you ain't going nowhere. I don't care how much you fight. You're fucked. So,
and it's exhausting. So you're stuck. I grew up in South Jersey, the shore.
Yeah. So he brings out the TV screen and shows him that she's buried farther up the beach. And the tide's already coming in. And what do you know? It starts to smack her in the face with the waves. And he realizes, oh, shit, that's going to happen to me. And he's begging, of course, come on, I'll give you money. I'll get whatever, don't do this. And Leslie Nielsen's character is so like just pleased with himself and see you later. He's all happy about it.
He says to him, he owns the beach. So he's like, scream all you want. He's like,
yeah,
I own all of it.
Fires off a shot and he's like, fuck it. Nobody's going to hear you.
No one's going to hear you because I own it all. And what is Ted Danson going to offer him? And it's just like,
right. So yeah, he sods off and gets to watch his girlfriend drown first. And then here comes the waves.
Before the waves short the TV out. Yeah. Then you can't even watch it. Yeah.
And I love the camera panning in on the bucket. It always kind of gives you pause, like, well, what does that mean? Maybe he's hoping that somehow the bucket will end up over his head and he'll survive, maybe that's what's going to happen. But
I didn't think about that.
No, he's done.
But yeah, they do this. They pan in on the bucket for some reason, and then yeah, the waves come and they have this great scene. And I really should have done my homework to see how they did it. But I have heard a couple of things like they put his head in a tank, and he did
I
actually
read about
almost
this.
drown or
I
something.
read about this today. What they did was they had a fish tank with a yaw or a yoke or whatever on the bottom of it. And he said, Ted Danson said he came in, he put his head up through this hole. They put it in, filled it up with water, and then had a scuba apparatus that they would run to his mouth. When Romero would set the shot, they would pull it out of frame and he would film it. I read the thing today. It said Ted Danson in a 2015 interview said this. That's what he said they did.
Awesome.
I'm so glad you did that research because I didn't do any research on this particular one, which is
one of the only things I read today. I was like, well, how did they do that shot? Because it's a great shot. It's a great shot.
It's a great shot. Yeah, no.
It is, and so that's the end of Ted Danson.
Yeah,
what is it? Harry, my dear boy, Harry Wentworth, that's his name, yeah, because he calls him by his last name too. Wentworth. I have the gun.
I have the gun, dear boy.
But yeah, Nielsen goes back to his compound. He's got freaking cameras everywhere because he's
closed circuit televisions everywhere, and
yeah,
and the whole music's so good. The music's so good, and then the whole place is like nautically themed, which is which I find super disconcerting. But I guess there is that idea of if you buy a house on the beach, like that, everything has to be nautical. It's like, whatever.
He has the top of the line security for 1982.
Yeah.
These giant center block size cameras and
a fish tank.
Giant aquarium, which is massively expensive. Yeah.
Buddha.
And a tracksuit.
Oh, can we talk about his
house is amazing.
Amazing Leslie Nielsen velour tracksuit that he wear. Oh man,
so 80s. Yeah, I love it. He does go back out to the beach to pick up his equipment before he, settles down for the night, and he finds that the bodies are gone,
and the bucket.
It looks like, and it says this in the comic, maybe something chewed through this wire.
Yeah.
You don't get to hear that in the movie, but he does look at the wire like, huh,
I had that question too, where I was like, "What is that? I don't understand." But
And then he goes back. He's very pleased with himself when he's watching the feed, man. Like he's there watching the feed like a streamer, He's
like, "This is his porn."
Yeah,
right.
He really
is watching these two people die.
Because he like saunters up to the camera. He's like, with his drink. He's like got his Shirley Temple. And he's like, I'm gonna get you.
Well, here comes the vengeance angle. It turns in on itself, and so he got his revenge. Now they're gonna get theirs, and so there's this beautiful operatic music, like with a soprano singing over it. That's really eerie, when it shows the waves crashing.
Yeah, 50s horror music.
Yeah, and just so all this tension is building up. And you see their shadows at one point, the zombies.
You hear squishy footprints.
Yeah, you know what's coming. And he starts to get this sense of dread, and he's getting nervous, and he calls out, "Wentworth, is that you?"
Yeah, you can't. He's not sure. Yeah.
And then we see just another set of zombies that I would say are almost on par with Nate. The attention to detail, the waterlogged zombies.
Yeah, they're like really pretty waterlogged zombies. Like they're just he said it. And they're gurgly. Their voices have been inundated too. And they're like, Richard. That's a fake neck they put in. Throw some seaweed in front of it. We got a shot. Yeah. And see, that's the thing. Romero was cool like that. He was quick and dirty with a lot of that stuff. He was just like, we just need it. One shot, we'll get it. So but yeah, these zombies are really cool, and they're covered in seaweed, and they smell like they beach. They smell like a seagull fart. They do. Like, yeah,
they're pretty terrible.
Yeah, the eyes were really creepy to me. Like they were
that's
all swollen looking.
See
like
their eyes. Yeah, it's really creepy, man.
It really looked like someone would look if they drowned. Although it looked like it maybe a day or two had probably passed, but whatever. We'll forgive them. So they're there, and he thinks that he's going to escape. He locks the door and turns around, and boom, there they are again.
They're there again.
Shit.
Jump scare. Good jump scare. Absolutely.
Try shooting them, which is a fantastic Savini effect. The waterlogged blood is leaking out of them. And you can't kill us because we're already
dead.
And then I love it. He throws the gun at him after he runs out of bullets.
Oh yeah, he pulls it. He pulls a Wilford Brimley. He it from the thing. He throws the gun at.
Because when all else fails, do a flying pistol whip.
Oh my God.
And then Leslie Nielsen gets his comeuppance, and they do to him what he did to them, and it's fucking amazing. It's really cool.
Great. I can hold my breath a long time. Good stuff.
And I love
really
the way he sounds when he says it. He's laughing as he says it. He's embraced the madness.
Not even sure what the fuck just happened, so he's just like he's
batshit crazy.
He's lost it. Yeah.
He's already batshit crazy. If you bury two people up to their fucking neck, regardless of whatever they did to you, you're probably batshit crazy. Just saying.
Story number 4, the crate.
The crate.
My goodness. This was some really scary shit in the 80s. That crate has appeared in other horror movies.
Yes.
Including Friday the 13th Part 9. Also known as Jason Goes to Hell. It does a cameo.
Yep. No, I'm not sure if it's any other movie that thing's been in. Yeah. I don't know. Do you know?
I just know that it says Arctic Expedition and it has a date on it, and I think that they said that was a nod to the original Thing, as in the 50s one.
Okay.
Or whatever it was called. The Thing from Another World.
Thing from Another World.
Yeah. Thing from. Yes. That was no. But
Fritz Weaver.
Facto,
yeah.
It's also a nod to Lovecraft.
It's all good.
So yeah.
Yeah.
The crate actually at first appeared as a short story in Skeleton Crew.
Oh yeah,
the Stephen King book.
Yep. Skeleton Crew is great, and Cycle of the Werewolf is great. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves in the 80s here, but I'm kind of a weird. The crate did not scare me at all. I love Fluffy. That is his name. I love Fluffy very, very much. I wish I had a life-size Fluffy for my bedroom. I kind of I related to Fluffy in the sense that that's his home, and if you're gonna go into his home, he's going to attack you because it's a fucking animal. It is a apex predator, and it's going to attack you. I do understand why certain things happen, but I love Fluffy.
No, I agree with you. I definitely had an affinity for Fluffy. And I was happy about the ending because at first I felt sad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we'll get there. So Fritz Weaver and Hal Holbrook, who later got his Oscar, so good for him. His son actually is in Creepshow 2, I found out. He's the chubby kid in the
chubby kid segment. in the Native American old Chief Woodenhead. Yeah, okay.
Played a great asshole.
Yeah, he did play a fucking dickhead. I love. First of all, I cannot say enough about Hal Holbrook. I mean, his acting is amazing. He is the only person ever to really play Samuel Clemens. Mark Twain. And did it for decades. He's an absolutely amazing actor. And he was on Sons of Anarchy, and he's to
watch him in Evening Shade.
He's phenomenal. Yeah, he was on Evening Shade. He married Dixie Carter from Designing Women. He's just fucking amazing. He really is just an unbelievably good actor. And then Fritz Weaver is one of those actors where I used to think it was David Gale from Reanimator.
Straight up.
Because they look alike.
Yeah, no, I swear I thought the same exact thing.
And he's in a bunch of episodes of Tales from the Dark Side, and like I thought it was him too. I was like, oh, it's the fucking guy from oh no, it's not Reanimator guy.
Yeah,
That's what I
no,
mean. I did the same
actually,
thing.
now that you mention it, I only found out a couple of weeks ago when I was doing a deep dive on Tales from the Dark Side,
Oh man,
because I looked it up and I'm like, wait a minute, this is the wrong name in the credits, and it was like,
Oh.
nope, you're wrong. Oh shit.
Yep.
He was in Creepshow, and then I'm like, wait, that wasn't him in Creepshow either. You
Because I
know?
was watching Tales from the Dark Side, and he's on the one episode where it's the guy's grandfather. He won't die, and I was like, there he
Well,
is.
so he's also in one of my favorites, which is Inside the Closet, a Savini directed episode
Yes,
with the monkey
right.
girl. You know,
with the monkey girl. Yes, it's like albino. Yeah,
albino naked monkey
You
girl.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
cool.
you had to be there.
So cute.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Lizzie,
Those
yeah,
cool.
Lizzie was the name that he gave that prop. But yeah, we can't forget Wilma. Miss
Adrienne
Adrienne
Barbeau.
Barbeau.
Adrienne Barbeau, or as my dad used to affectionately call her, Adrienne Barbells, because of her breasts.
Yes,
I know.
or Boobo
Yeah.
is what I've also
Wildly inappropriate father. But yeah, classy stuff from the reader of Playboy.
From the New Jersey degenerate. Yeah.
God. But yes, absolutely. She's amazing. She's a fantastic actress. Period. Like she's great in everything she does. So
She did like
Yeah, she's great at cons too. I mean, she gets long lines, and treats everybody like gold, you know.
I met her at Spooky, and she was just a really genuine, kind person. Yeah. Who I'm sure was tired of men coming up to her.
Probably, yeah.
I love actors and actresses like that who embrace the community that, you know, basically paid their bills, you know, for however long,
absolutely.
you know. What else was she? The Fog, of course.
And Swamp Thing. She's
Swamp,
in
yes, Swamp Thing.
She's in a lot of shit, man.
Who directed Swamp Thing again, Slinky?
Wes Craven.
Yes, sir. So, you know, horror and genre titles are
I
all
love
just
Swamp Thing, man.
incestuous.
I got one for my birthday. I got to show you. I painted him. He looks wicked cool, dude. I love me some Swamp Thing, dude.
Yeah, DC Comics, you know, throw them a bone for that one. You know, okay, but here's a quick question. Which was cooler, Swamp Thing or Man Thing?
Swamp Thing, definitely Swamp Thing.
No shit. I see. That surprises me a little bit because you know, Man
Thing's cool and all, but I fell in love with Swamp Thing first. I think that's really what happened. You know what I mean? So.
All right,
and I guess Man Thing was a little bit before my time, so I don't have the same nostalgia glasses as a lot of horror fans. But I've noticed that a lot of horror fans lean Man Thing. You know, it was kind of lumped in with Frankenstein and Dracula and Werewolf by Night.
See, the reason I dig Swamp Thing is because of Alan Moore's story run when he did it, because of the consciousness being able to swap around, and it's just that shit blew me away when I fell into
which is pretty deep
Alan Moore
for
Swamp
DC.
Thing
Yeah,
stuff. It's crazy. It's so good, man. It's so good. So yeah, that's why I gravitate towards Swamp Thing. Sorry.
All right. Well, yeah, a lot of rabbit holes here. I'm sorry. We're coming up on an hour too. So back to the story at hand. All these fantastic actors. The Crate, with lots of actors we love. So Wilma is a fucking bitch. And Hal Holbrook is married to her, sadly. And they go to these parties, and everybody, Christine Forrest Romero included.
Yes, that's right. The shitty nurse from Monkey Shines. Yeah.
Just what a fucking bitch this lady is. And he keeps having these daydreams that he kills her, you know, like just pops one off right in the middle of a sentence, you know, and then everybody applauds, you know.
Fantastic.
Hell of a shot. Yeah.
Then meanwhile, at the university, Fritz Weaver's character and a couple of pals find a crate underneath, an old dusty huge crate underneath a set of stairs that's obviously been there a long ass time. It's got an 1800s date on it, you know, and so they drag it out, and the janitor pops it open, and he and the professor find out very quickly that was a bad idea. Because there's something inside the crate, and it pulls the janitor inside, and he dies a horrible grisly death.
And it eats the whole fucking janitor. Like, it leaves a boot.
Yeah.
He eats the uniform, keys, and everything.
Yeah, everything's gone.
Yeah.
Fluffy, waste not, want not.
Yeah.
And so Weaver, he does what I would do. He just books it out of there, goes to his best friend, which was a little odd instead of the police. But maybe he just didn't want to, feel responsible or whatever. But he goes to his buddy, as Wilma is off playing bridge, with her friends. He goes to his buddy, and his buddy, Hal Holbrook, is like, "Oh, wait a minute. So there's this monster that eats people? Interesting."
Yep.
And he tricks his friend. He puts
Twisted
him to
EC
sleep with a
humor.
drink. Decides he's going to go to the college and check things out. And sure enough, there's another guy that gets eaten, right? And so he sees, oh shit, this is real.
Mhm.
And Fluffy actually drags the crate back. This is part of the comedy. Drags the crate back under the stairs. It's like his home.
That's home.
And Holbrook cleans up the whole
home.
bloody mess.
That's where he's comfortable.
He's been there
Yeah.
for
He
years.
he probably doesn't like the light very much either. I think he's probably used to being in the crate. He's used to being kind of nocturnal and stuff. So I think he's just used to being under the stairs. Thanks, Wes Craven. But no, I think he's just used to being under there. And so yeah, he's gonna drag the crate in there. He's like, fuck you. I'm not your exhibit.
Right.
Fine.
So yeah, Holbrook, cleans up the blood, and he calls Wilma, or he leaves a message, right, for Wilma.
Leaves a note for Billy.
Yeah.
And she reads the note. She goes to the college to console a student because he writes some bullshit in the note.
Yeah, so Fritz Weaver has a wee bit of a problem keeping his pencil in his pocket. And so he has this reputation around the college for being somebody who basically seduces students. And so he plants this idea in Billy's head that, something has happened. We are to assume it was some sort of a sexual assault, and that this student was very upset and was, hiding, and needed to be like let out, right, by the expertise of your neighborhood drunk Billy. And so she falls for it. She gets in there and she gets eaten.
Which is a beautiful shot in the comic.
What a beautiful shot. The colors.
Yeah, Fluffy comes out, and the colors was like something out of What's Opera Doc. There's all these reds and purples and blues. It was freaking gorgeous. And yeah, the comic does the same thing. And it shows this amazing shot of Fluffy eating Wilma's face. His entire mouth covers Wilma's head. And it's just a gorgeous shot. The boobs and nipples are sticking out while he eats her, very, very visceral, but yeah, tell it to call you Billy, you bitch.
Oh. Deserved on some level, on some level. And then they decide to put Fluffy back in his crate, and then they
very carefully chain it back up.
Chain it shut.
And takes it to the quarry and drops it off the quarry.
And then it falls in the water, and then the eyes pop because he's still alive.
Ta-da!
Yay!
So yay! Fluffy's not dead, and Hal Holbrook got away with murder, and he gets to play chess with his buddy for the rest of their life or whatever.
Happy ending.
So then our final segment, they're creeping up on you. I did watch this with Christine after she got me the gorgeous 4K transfer Blu-ray, and this was the one that she couldn't make it all the way through. She's got the thing about bugs.
So fun fact about Miss Erin Dawn is I suffer from what is called catsaridophobia. Which is an intense fear of cockroaches.
You picked a hell of a state to live in then, didn't you?
Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. I've been dealing with it since I was little. And yeah, this is the one story that has lived rent-free in my head for decades and decades and decades. And yes, and anytime I see roaches or have to be around them, the immediate thought is, E.G. Marshall. That's it. Yeah. Or the cereal box or any of the other shit that happens in this scene.
Mr. Pratt.
Mr. Pratt.
Should give a quick shout out to the janitor or the maintenance man in the building. He is the same African American gentleman who appears in Dawn of the Dead at the beginning as one of the commentators right before everything goes to shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So love that guy. But yeah, Upson Pratt, he is a billionaire who has sequestered himself in a high-rise apartment that's supposed to be the apartment of the future. It's anti-germ, anti-tampering, anti-everything, basically. Goes with his personality. Sealed. It's anti-everything. And he is complaining to the maintenance man because he's got a bug problem, as he says, and you got to watch out for him. He's comparing roaches to people. They creep up on you. You
he does not like the poor, the African American community, the Latinos. He hates everyone that's not him. He's very
he's a miser.
Misophobe. Sure, there's one where it's like you just hate everyone. Like you're literally terrified or uncomfortable by everybody.
But yeah, just a pure corporate greedy asshole. So there is this great little bit of horror where we find out that he did a hostile takeover of this other company, and the guy who had worked for the other company lost his job and killed himself. And then the guy's wife calls him up and she's like, I hope you get cancer in the worst place. I love that.
Miss Costmeyer. Yeah.
Who was actress in Season of the Witch from George Romero. Yeah. Because he loves them Pittsburgh.
Love
people.
That. Yes. Not love Season of the Witch. I've tried to watch it 10 times. No thanks.
I can't fucking. I finished it, but I
him like 6 times.
It took me like 6, 7. I'm not even kidding, man. It took me like 5 times to get through that movie. But yeah, it's just.
But yeah, props to Romero for bringing along all his Pittsburgh buddies wherever he goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Upson Pratt then realizes that he doesn't just have a bug problem, he's got the ultimate bug problem, because now the lights have gone out in the city, and as we all know, bugs scramble when the lights are on, and they hide in the crevices and cereal boxes and electronics and all the things, but now it's dark and he is fucked. He can't get a hold of anybody for help. Right, the maintenance man's stuck in the elevator. Sorry, I wish I could help you.
I wish I could help you, Mr. Pratt.
And then so he decides, what, there's only one thing left to do. I'm gonna go in the panic room.
Yeah, he has
so after smashing all these bugs and killing them with bug spray and whatnot, they're pissed. So he ends up in the panic room, and I think it's a bed, right? And he pulls the sheet back.
They're in the bed.
And there they all are. You're not safe even in the panic room, Mr. Pratt. And of course he freaks out, the camera goes all wild. And then the next morning rather, the maintenance man's finally like, where are you at, Mr. Pratt? You asshole, And the camera pans in on Mr. Pratt, who doesn't look so hot, lying there in the panic room. But where are all the bugs? Not a single roach to be. Oh wait, there is a single roach coming out of his mouth. And then, more roaches coming out of his mouth. And then the part that freaked me out the most, they burst out of his chest, and it's like,
chest.
You can see him crawling under his skin, and
it's amazing. It's an amazing Savini effect.
And the money that they spent, it was 50 cents per roach. And Romero's on record saying that was the most expensive part of the movie, was getting all the roaches for that segment. And it was well worth it, because anybody who's ever been afraid of bugs at all, when you see this movie, it's
the
going to bring it
music
home
and the
for
sound
you.
effects they add when the roaches are, it's very nails on chalkboard.
And I also love that they used the piece of music that is featured in Evil Dead. It's featured during the bloodletting scene in Evil Dead, which is, I don't know what it's.
But it's like it's not stock music, but you recognize
like they're doing the Charleston or something.
Yes,
it's very like cute and upbeat, right?
Flapper stuff.
It's horrifying, man. It's fucking horrifying. It's just, like makes you check your cereal box, and your fucking
Yeah, and I never thought about that, but it does remind me of Romero's use of the gonk in Dawn of the Dead, that sort of, we have this horrible sense of dread hanging over you, so we're going to play a really cute song to throw in a little cognitive dissonance.
When you hear the music, yep, exactly. When they're hunting the zombies, because the music's so silly, but you hear all these gunshots and you're seeing zombies like fall down with all this blood and stuff, and it's like bam, 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 bam. So it's like it's very wild.
So then we have our wraparound, right? We go back to Billy, and outside the garbage men are coming to pick up the trash, including Tom Savini, and was it Pasquale Buba? One of his longtime collaborators played the other garbage man.
It's not Tasso.
Not
Tasso.
No.
The other one.
Yeah, so I think it was Pasquale. But
Stabarkius,
anyway, they find the comic in the trash, and I was like, "Oh, look, I love these comics," and they're flipping through. And like, look, you can send off for these 3D glasses, and of course the ad that's missing is the voodoo doll, and oh well, we can't send off for that one. And then we go back to Billy, who's in his room with a voodoo doll, and we see Dad's just chilling in the living room with his beer and his paper. And I'm not feeling so great, man. My neck is so tight.
Hurting, babe. Yeah,
And he sticks the pins in the doll and boom, boom, boom. It's fantastic. I love it. I learned it from watching you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yes.
80s kid versus dad revenge. Take that. I'll teach you to stoop or throw away my comic books.
My comic books. That's right.
So then we get the fantastic soundtrack ending, and that is Creepshow 1982. So let's just roll right into the Scared Shitless.
You will be scared shitless.
Which of course is the namesake of the show, and the part where we talk about anything and everything in the film that scared us or might have under the right circumstances. And I think, to only be fair, we should give each segment its due. So with the first segment, Father's Day, when he twists that lady's neck around, that freaked me the fuck out. I had never seen anything like that before in a movie. And it was just visceral and unexpected, and wow. And then her head ends up on the cake. That got me. So also Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill. I don't know why, but the thing that always stuck out to me was the damn blisters on his fingers. And when he puts them to his mouth, he realizes, oh shit, they've got weeds growing out of them, and I just put them in my mouth, and then sure enough, you see that he's got the weeds growing on his tongue. So that always kind of fucked with me a little bit, just that it's spreading, and the damn blisters. Anything to do with blisters on fingers bothers me. And then of course we have the Something Tied You Over. With that, it was the voices of the zombies, you can't kill us because we're dead, and then boom, he turns around and they're there after he shuts the door. Zombies aren't supposed to be able to do that. So this is some fucking cosmic justice coming after your ass is what it is. So that scared me. Then the crate, of course, it was weird. I was honestly scared more by the humans in that than Fluffy. And just the idea that, somebody could be that fucked up to murder their wife, but then I felt something like it was kind of okay that he did it. And you're not supposed to have feelings like that. It happens in horror a lot where you have a character who is an asshole, and then when they get killed, you're like, yeah, but then when you think about it, it's like, well, they didn't really deserve to die for that, so that bothered me there. And then it's just the vengeance, and then, the roaches, when they burst out of his fucking chest, that got me like on a visceral level. I carried it with me through my whole life. So there's mine.
So for Father's Day, absolutely, Nathan Grantham coming out of the grave for the first time. That was absolutely terrifying to me. Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill. Probably just how sad it ends, I think that's just very there's something very scary about the finality.
Dying alone,
the dying alone and dying thinking that your father never loved you or thought you or respected you or whatever. That's just very sad. And then Something That Tied You Over. Just the fact that Ted Danson was buried up to his neck, like that, or that character, the fact that Wentworth and just couldn't move, the being basically paralyzed, which eventually your body would just stop working, like it would just be frozen in there and you wouldn't be able to get out anyway. The crate, I'm gonna go on ahead and say Fritz Weaver hitting on young girls was
I can
the
see that, yeah.
creepiest fucking scary part of that movie. Yeah,
He
definitely
just
not
crawled
Fluffy.
under the stairs and won't come out.
Fluffy is totally fine.
Oh my God, what do you do to her?
Yeah, I know. Like it was like, what the fuck? Like anyway. Yeah, because that like implies that Fritz Weaver is just like a disgusting human being. And yeah, I get it. And then the roaches, honestly, the thing like the roaches coming out of the body didn't bother me at all. The roaches in the food. In
Yes.
the like when he's going through, I don't know if he's making like special cereal or something, because he's putting the cereal in the
food processor, yeah.
But then when he goes and he has like a spatula and he's going through the food processor and he sees like the roaches in there, I was like, fuck you. Like that was no, that's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, that's the horror of biting the apple and seeing the other half of the worm sticking out.
Nope.
Yeah, so okay, the Creepshow. All right, the first series. Nathan Grantham didn't scare me. What scared me is the fact that that lady just told Ed Harris her sister murdered their father and they inherited all their money. The fact that she just openly told this fucking guy who's dancing badly with her granddaughter, just here, this is our family, here it is. That to me is scary. And the second one, yeah, the whole series is pretty terrifying. I say the fact that nobody knows he's out there with the meteor.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows he's there. You know what I mean?
And the world's about to end. Guess what?
Yeah, like, and there's green stuff coming from.
Yeah, we forgot to mention that the news story,
like,
the forecast is rain, right? That's coming up.
Yeah, that's right. The forecast is rain. So look what it did to him. Oh no. Yeah, exactly. It's going to take over the whole world. So then something that tied you over. What's terrifying is he has him at gunpoint to get into that hole, and it's like, I don't know what's more terrifying: finding out what's going to happen, being buried up to your neck and drowning, or having him shoot you. But either way, it's the fact that he's not playing around, so that's scary, And then it doesn't matter what happens to you after you get in that hole because you just gave up, That's scary to me. The crate, the fact that that thing was alive after 150 years in that box, that's wild.
Yeah,
that's terrifying, And then just roaches in general. I hate roaches. So the fact that they pop out of the cereal box, scary is when he's picking through the food processor thing. Those are whole roaches in there. So he hit puree and it didn't even phase him, dude. Like,
no, it's often said after the nuclear holocaust happens, there'll be two things left: the roaches and Keith Richards.
Cher.
Yeah, Cher. Okay.
Roaches and Cher.
Roaches, Cher, and GE refrigerators. Yeah, so
yeah, let's rate this movie. I don't know about you guys, but it's a 5-star movie for me for, every reason I can think of. It's the production value, the music, the acting, the comedy, the horror, everything I could want from a film. It's so fucking entertaining, and I believe it's stood the test of time. There's a series now, called Creepshow, the series on Shudder. Some of it's pretty good. We had a sequel, right?
Yeah, it's got Creepshow 2, Creepshow 3, which I don't recommend. I've never seen it, but I don't want to watch it. And then it's got that TV series. What's cool though is the movie Creepshow. It's more, I think it's like 2 hours and 4 minutes or something. Doesn't feel if it's
no,
over
you're
before
right.
you know
it does feel like
it's
it goes
really
at
cool.
A clip. Yeah,
that's, to me, that's a sign that it's tight, concise. It's fucking boom. It's a banger. So
for the win.
He killed it on this one.
He really did. He absolutely killed it on this one. Yeah, this is a 5 disco coke necklaces for me. This is 5 just gold chains, 5 gold chains for me. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I rate this 5 crates under the stairs from the Arctic expedition, 1834.
to the
5 crates. Yep. Yep.
Hot.
All right, and so that is Creepshow from 1982, starring Ed Harris, Stephen King, Adrienne Barbeau, Fritz Weaver, Hal Holbrook, and a bunch of other awesome fucking people. Ted Danson, for crying out loud, Leslie Nielsen.
And the whole population of Pittsburgh.
Right.
Half of Western Pennsylvania's in that.
We are all in complete agreement. This is an utter classic that if you have never seen it, you owe it to yourself. Even if you're not a horror fan, it's just so fucking entertaining, you know.
It's a fun movie.
My mom loves this movie. My mom's not a big horror gal, you know, and we watched this together. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good gateway film, you know, if you want to get your kids into horror and they're of age.
Yeah,
to
this
see
is how
gore.
to test the pool. If you're into, you know, you want to get into horror, stick your toes in the water with this one.
Yeah, because nudity in it. There's no nudity. There's no sexual situation.
It's a good, wholesome movie. The shitty people get their comeuppance in it. It's just good.
Fluffy.
Feel good for all the whole family.
Absolutely. You have
I highly recommend the soundtrack if you want to relax to some scary music. That's really, you know, I would say pre Danny Elfman creepy music. You know, go for it. It's a great listen. You know, I sometimes will just put it on for the hell of it. Yeah, great fucking movie. 5 stars across the board. What are we doing next week, guys? Not Stephen King, anything but Stephen King, right? But we'll get back to SK at some point. But anything maybe that we mentioned or that we've been thinking about, you know, I kind of have pushed my little SK, you know, let's do some Stephen King stuff. So what's on your mind, guys?
I would like to do Evil Dead.
Oh my God, I was just thinking about that this morning. I swear to you, I thought to myself, why haven't we done Evil Dead? We're supposed to do actually scary movies, and we haven't done Evil Dead. What the fuck?
And Evil Dead, and we all have like stories regarding Evil Dead. You know what I mean? So like, I think
some good ones.
I think that would be fantastic, and that's one of the first scary horror films I think I ever watched. So.
You know what? Fuck it, we'll get Evil Dead for the poster.
Well, so a little Stephen King segue. He talks at length about it in Dance Macabre, which was his 1984 nonfiction book that he did about horror books and movies and everything. And so, you know, he gave mad props to Sam Raimi at that time for, I believe, for creating the scariest movie of all time, is how he put it. So
the most ferociously original horror film I've ever seen. That's an actual quote from Stephen King.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, totally in.
All right. So next week, Evil Dead. What was it? 1981.
81.
Think so.
Yep. Yeah, it's 81.
81,
yeah,
82.
Right.
I know it's one of them. I know it's either 81 or 82. I know it's not 83, and I know it's not 80. So.
Well, I appreciate you guys sticking it out for the long haul tonight. You know, it's one of those beloved movies that, you know, you can't say enough stuff about. So we have run a little long. So thank you guys for sticking it out, and our listeners, of course. And so until next time, stay shitless.